Hello and welcome back to another Reaconteur video, and in today's video I will be explaining everything about how Deepwoken is a terrible game and maybe even potential fixes for these issues. Before we get into it, just know this video is inspired by Tad is Bad, as he has made 2 videos explaining why Deepwoken's a bad game, and I just want to make a more relevant and up-to-date version of those, so enjoy! Also subscribe, hit the notification bell, join my Discord at discord.gg/Reacon in the description and comment section below. Follow me on Twitch in the description and comment section below. Now, let's get into the video. Deepwoken's progression is terrible, and luck is to blame. When the luck counter came out, Archmage said that luck was made less impactful on builds. In reality, all they did was reduce the luck cap from X% of what it was before to 43% max after a few tweaks. However, in reality, this just made luck more impactful on builds. Without the ability to get the talents you want or need to make your build, this means that when making builds, you're going to spend more time grinding Trial of One, grinding Arena, and grinding NPCs for the stuff you want. In an attempt to make luck less impactful in the Deepwoken, developers just made the progression less consistent, and it artificially increased the playtime of their boring game, which only benefits them while hurting their player base. Now, a lot of people might think, well, everyone shouldn't have every legendary talent that they want, because then that would make the game unbalanced. However, I think that people should, because in the end, people are just going to keep on wiping and remaking their builds until they get all the legendary talents they need. So, by not just giving us these talents or a better way to earn them, you're just artificially extending the playtime of your garbage game. Deepwoken's balancing is a joke. For reference, Archmage is the developer that is entirely in charge of Deepwoken's backend scripting and balancing. He does not work on content updates, and yet he can't balance his game properly. There are so many broken aspects of this game's balancing, and it can all be fixed by changing single numbers and scripts. And if you're like, oh, well, scripting isn't that easy, balance adjusting is. I would know, I scripted for about 4 years. So, let's go over a few examples. Mushroom Omelets give you a 25% damage buff, which is more than Bloodthirsty Enchant, Deferred Enchant, and Wild Enchant. Curse of No Life King. It's a good enchant in certain scenarios, but it just has way too many downsides to be viable. It should at least be usable in the depths, but you know, let's just instantly wipe you if you don't have an extra weapon on you. Many talents are also outright useless and are unviable in any build, while others are way too strong. If you want to know about the talents that are way too strong, think of Destructive Recovery and Mirage Clones. 2 talents which punish your opponent for doing nothing wrong, effectively making them so powerful there is no reason to never take them. I would also like to point out the damage inconsistencies in the way that Dragoons literally do more damage than heavy weapons, and heavy weapons usually have such low DPS that it's not worth using them over anything else unless you want to make a certain build for fun. Absolutely pathetic balancing. Deepwoken has very inconsistent quality. What isn't inconsistent is the quality of my videos and my Discord server, so subscribe and join that in the description and comment section below. Among the models, but more obviously among the animations. Just look at this. And also, look at this. You seriously can't tell me these look good with a straight face. More than likely, they were probably rushed for content updates, and the animators were being whipped to get them done by Archmage and Reaconteur. Look me in the eyes and tell me this doesn't look like shit. You can't, because this looks terrible. Just look at that. And look at that. Why do they come out so poorly? This is really sad, and they should definitely revamp a lot of the game's animations and some of the models too, because some of them are just a bit worse than others. Deepwoken is a grind game bandit beater, with the loot pools having items so rare you need to spend potentially tens of hours to find the items you want while you're essentially doing the exact same thing every time. It's a very bad system. Primadon, Alita, all depths monsters, practically nothing in this game can be gotten without grinding and RNG, which makes the game less enjoyable as a whole. You can either get a finisher's ring after beating Alita once, or you get it after 1,000 tries, which is average, because it's a 0.1% chance to drop. A terrible system to get the amazing items you want, and it also artificially increases the time of the game played. There's virtually no reason to farm depths because you can get the same loot in the overworld and it'll take you 200 hours regardless. Instead of offering hard or difficult quests to get the items that you want, you actually just need to farm the same enemy over and over and over again. Not only that, but fishing takes away all reason to genuinely farm and play the game, because any loot you can get from farming you can get from fishing, and auto-fishing exploits just make this way worse. The AI in Deepwoken is pathetic. Oftentimes, humanoid NPCs will get stuck on walls or trees trying to chase you. The NPCs in Deepwoken really do feel like NPCs. Archmage and Reaconteur said that Deepwoken would have a lot of NPC and world events, but in reality, it's just the same monsters and bandits spawning directly on top of you. At best, you'll find the Diver's Depths event, but even then, it's the same events every time, and the bosses really are pathetic. The Enforcer can be so easily cheesed by just pressing F and M1 in repetition, you could probably land the first parry and do the rest of the fight with your eyes closed. Even worse, if you have a blunt, you can parry and just spam critical attacks and it just stun locks the Enforcer. The Enforcer isn't a boss, he's a joke, and Primadon is pathetic. It's the same pattern every time, and in an attempt to make the Primadon more fun and harder, they just made it laggier, less fun, and more grindy. And the only other bosses, Ferryman or Duke, are both bipolar opposites. The Duke is too hard to fight on your own without a high regen and defense build, while the Ferryman is so easy, you can beat him at level 40 if you know his patterns. And the enemies are terrible! As a whole, the NPCs in the game are too repetitive and grindy and aren't fun to fight past the first time. This gets even worse when you include things like Kaido. You spend an hour looking for Kaido just to spend an hour standing behind him, just to spend an hour M1ing him, just to not get what you want, which is Petra's Anchor. On to the next section. Deepwoken has a lot of FPS and lag issues. Some of this is the fault of Roblox. However, the Deepwoken developers had almost no attempt in trying to optimize their game with their own systems. Because of this, they structured all their optimization on a new and highly experimental bool value, which you may know as streaming out. Streaming out makes data that isn't being rendered by anyone unload to save bandwidth. Streaming out is new and very experimental within Roblox, and the Deepwoken devs decided to use it as a crutch for their game's entire optimization. If you've ever been in Trial of One, you've experienced lag. This is because of the terribly optimized particles utilized during it, and the fact that Deepwoken is made out of almost entirely unions. Unions are Roblox's building tools. However, they're terribly optimized. Unions multiply parts and compile them into one part total. However, since this is just multiple parts grouped into one thing instead of being one part, it's very laggy. And Deepwoken is composed mostly of these unions. The Sharko, for example, involves meshes, but it also has unions in the coral on its back, which just cause more lag. The seas are the most boring part of this entire game. There's 0 variety, 4 possible events, and no boat content. If you're in the ocean, you can fight a brain sucker, a lionfish, a stupid pirate event that gives you no benefit in doing, and Kaido. If you find Kaido, which you won't. The oceans have no content, and boats are just the most boring form of transportation, wasting even more of your time while you wonder why this game is so bad, and you sit in front of your screen sadly. Deepwoken was supposed to have a lot of sea and boat content, and there was supposed to be a lot of pirate-related things, and even potentially pirate guilds. However, with most of the in-game content being taken out after the testing phases, this leaves the sea and boats with literally no content worth playing, which really makes them very boring when this is supposed to be a game in the sea. Instead, we're just playing a game with a sea that sucks ass. Every Deepwoken content update is met with bugs. That is, when there are content updates. I have asked testers and other YouTubers who are testers, and they have admitted that they don't do anything anymore. Testers don't test updates, and clearly the devs don't either. Every update they release has tons of bugs and balancing issues, which could have easily been fixed if they just tested the updates. Here's an example. Shardbow was straight up not aimable when it was first released, which makes it clear these updates aren't being tested for balance or bugs. Here's another example. Many of the animations get bugged, and even when they fixed move stacking, there was still a way to do it, which means they clearly didn't check out their move stack patch method. However, they do eventually fix these things, but they shouldn't have to. These should already be fixed by the time the update comes out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely won't enjoy being banned from Deepwoken after this releases. Subscribe, join my Discord at discord.gg/Reacon, and click that notification bell and follow me on Twitch. Also, make sure to subscribe to Tad is Bad for inspiring this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed.